I'm Pichon Garcia. I'm a black belt under Alvin Aguilar and Saulo Ribeiro under DEFTAC. I have a regular day job, so I work in a plant. I work for my dad, so we have a plant in Laguna. So I'm like the pollution and safety control officer. So I'm going to make sure that we don't break any laws by the DNR or the Dole. So after that, before it's either depending on the day. So usually after that, I usually teach kids in Zobel Tuesday, Thursdays. After that, I go to Banff. So I train wrestling first, then I go Jiu-Jitsu class right after. Or let's say if it's a Monday, Wednesday, I do conditioning first. I do lift weights, explosive workout. Then I go to Banff to do Jiu-Jitsu. Or let's say like here, let's say if I have time, I can go see the other gyms. Then I go see the other gyms. I train with my other teammates.
You were doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when it wasn't popular yet here in the Philippines. Can you describe the BJJ scene then and now?
Well, back in those days, talaga, there was nobody. Barely anybody really knew anything about it. And of course, when you try to show it, people would always go, "Why are you in the ground? Why are you hugging him?" These were always a common question, because back in those days, the art was, people were more fixated on the striking arts. So the whole point when you're doing something on the ground, people looked at it as very, very weird. Actually, they thought it was gay. If you of course, if you compare it now, parang everybody knows about it because of the UFC, because of the internet. So everybody's parang it's such a global thing now. When you talk about Jiu-Jitsu, at least people know. Most people I've met actually know about Jiu-Jitsu now. Well, if you were to say training style back in those days when we went to the States, they were very basic oriented yung style ng Jiu-Jitsu. So practically when we had to go to class, we had to be warm-up. So when the class started, straight to techniques, no more warm-ups. But when we went to Brazil naman, their techniques were more sport-oriented. So very aggressive yung style ng game nila. So yun, they showed a bit more techniques than what they did in the US. So parang the US was still that time teaching you the old school, while we were in Brazil it was more of the new school, more of the sport-oriented stuff. A lot of sweeps, a lot of wacky sweeps, a lot of flexible looking positions. Actually, now if you look at it in terms of style, we're practically already there. Actually, with them. The thing is lang siguro is like the way they train siguro. Kasi since most of us here, we can't make Jiu-Jitsu as a living, like a 24/7 thing. So we're limited to what we can do with our spare time compared to most of the guys like in the States and Brazil. They spend hours, they spend the whole day just training Jiu-Jitsu and refining Jiu-Jitsu compared to us na we do it when we get off from work or before we go to work. So it's a different thing na compared to like you wake up in the morning, go home just to eat and then go back doing Jiu-Jitsu again, or
You were lucky enough to be able to train with a lot of big names, world champions, BJJ legends. What was the most important thing that you learned from any of them?
Basics. Always focus on the basics. Because no matter how wacky your techniques are, in the end of the day, if you meet a guy or your fundamentals aren't there, you won't be able to apply the most complicated technique without the basics, because without the understanding of how the technique works. Because some people, since they don't like the basics, they want to know what's on the new technique for the day. They forget how the basics talaga will lead you talaga to the new technique, and how to apply it properly. Well, I think almost every year there's always a technique, the way it changes the way you play. Because of course the focus. Back in the day, when we went to Brazil, it was the half guard. That was the technique. After a while became the X guard, and then after a while they started doing deep half. Then now it's the berimbolo. Now it's like the modified what do you call this? De la Riva. So each generation has a particular guard, or each year has a particular guard that stands out. So it changes the game, because what happens, it nullifies a certain style or a certain pattern that you play. It breaks it, because number one, before you could just stay in that position or stall in that position, or you could remain safe in that position, but due to that modification or that new technique, it makes it more difficult now to play when you're in that position.
Blackbelt, yeah, but how do you keep yourself motivated?
I just watching, I guess, watching Jiu-Jitsu, just watching Jiu-Jitsu, watching UFC, training with my teammates, training with the students. Because I mean, just seeing them enjoy what you show, and of course, seeing the evolution of the sport makes you want to always learn and learn and learn. You don't shut yourself off, not just because I got this certain belt, that's the end of it. You know what I mean? Of course, that's why you always watch the competition. You always watch because you want to see what's new. You want to, of course, eventually, like, I don't know how to do that. Imagine lower belts can do the technique better than you. Of course, sometimes you also want to try to of course, upgrade yourself to be able to perform, or at least, you know what I mean, understand the new style. My future goals is hopefully to compete a few more times. Then, of course, just learn and learn and learn and learn. Because nowadays, when you're a black belt, it's just hopefully just pretty much upgrading yourself every time. Keep yourself motivated. Hopefully, get to compete. Hopefully, get the medal. You know, that's pretty much it.
How is your style of jiu-jitsu unique from others?
It's not really unique. It's pretty much not exactly similar, because since I came also from the original style of jiu-jitsu, the self-defense, so my jiu-jitsu is still very much based on the basic style. I have a little bit of the advanced, but not as compared as to everybody else. My style isn't as let's say flexibility based, or it's not very inverted, or like the way jiu-jitsu is now. So I still rely on some basic moves, or the old style, to go, let's say, in most of the way I play.
So if you're not doing jiu-jitsu, what do you think are you doing now? Are you doing showbiz?
No. Most probably I'll be no, most probably I never really like showbiz. That's for my siblings. But most probably I'd still be doing my job, or find another art to do, or something to keep me occupied. So most probably I'd be doing maybe a strike art. Just before I did jiu-jitsu, I was taking Sarian back in those days. So most probably either I'd still be taking Sarian, or I'd still be doing arnis.
So can you imagine life without jiu-jitsu?
No. Because that was parang it's been such a part of me for such a long time. So even now, like when I don't do it, like, I really miss it. I really have to be on the mats, or I really have to see, you know, there isn't a day na I don't watch a match, either online. For newbies, just be patient while you're going through jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu kasi can be time consuming, you know what I mean, and sometimes some people kasi like to be good right away, or sometimes, like I said before, it's like some people like to know the new stuff instead of learning the more basic, the more fundamental stuff. So it's better to always stick first to the fundamentals, because in the end of the day, the more advanced stuff is going to be harder to apply. So eventually, it's always, if you look at even the top guys, they finish guys with the most basic arm bars and everything. They do crazy sweeps, but at the end of the day, they finish the guys with the most basic thing, straight ankle lock. Nothing of the real fancy stuff that they usually show in their videos. So it's nice to always make sure that you stay on the basics, then slowly shift to the advanced stuff. So at least you understand talaga from how the move goes, or you know how to troubleshoot if you can't pull off a certain technique. This is Pichon Garcia for ProjectLifestyleManila.com.